What is happening, everybody? All right, today we're gonna make and install some countertops. Not this one. This light. This one is destined for a different place, but I wanted to show you. This is 4/4, so it's a lot thinner lamination than your 8/4 type butcher block. So I've been doing a lot of countertops lately. I've done maybe 15 countertops, but I've never finished and installed one. That's what we're gonna do today. I had a customer here in Eagle River, Alaska, reached out to me for some maple countertops, butcher block style, for his fourplex condo apartment type thing that he rents out. So we started out with about 140 board feet of 4/4 maple and 40 board feet of black walnut. The customer originally was going for maple butcher block countertops, and then he wanted me to try throwing in some walnut accent strips on the inside, just a couple of them. After going back and forth on it, we decided on a little bit more of a design, kind of like cutting board countertops. I'm using Titebond 3 glue here, and I did speak with them, and they do recommend shaking the glue. I posted about that on my Instagram and Facebook, and there was a lot of people who had a lot of questions, but apparently the darker stuff at the bottom needs to be mixed in. Just make sure the lid's tight.
Yeah.
If you are curious about the clamp rack and the glue roller, it is from JLT. Over the years I've been asked hundreds of times, so if I answered your question, comment down below. When I ripped all these strips, I ripped them at 1 3/4 inches so that the countertop final thickness would be a minimum of 1.5 inches. That's a big countertop. This countertop bar top side is 36.5 inches, so it almost maxed out my JLT clamp rack, but definitely maxing out the 37-inch wide belt sander. Not much room for air when running it through the sander. Probably would have been better off gluing it up in 2 separate pieces, running it through the planer, and then using the domino to join them. So from there I had to straight line all the pieces, and I did use the domino to join them. Because this kitchen was so tight, the customer and I both decided that a butt joint or a miter on these small L portions of the countertops just wasn't very fitting. So I carried the design and the grain to go the same direction as the rest of the countertop, which really makes for a seamless type countertop. Having a butt joint and a miter joint is not best case scenario on a countertop like this because of wood movement. So I did the old school method of templating these countertops, which is a hot glue gun and some type of template material. You can get these pressboard sheets at Home Depot for like $15. And by the time you rip a sheet on the table saw, you get plenty to work with. It's really nice when you're away from the customer's place to be able to see exactly the size of the countertops when you're cutting to final size. I was worried about cutting the sink out, but it went pretty well. The sink cutout is going to turn into a really nice matching cutting board. And it's a massive cutting board at that. It's 31 inches long. So far I'm pretty impressed with this P-Tech filler. Apparently they say it's food grade. I'm not so sure that I would put it in something like a cutting board, but this is the bottom of the butcher block style countertops here. And when I do these laminations and glue this all up to maximize the most wood as possible, the parts of the wood with defects end up on the bottom where you can't see them. Flipping the countertops around during this process turned out to be really hard. I just about dropped it one time, but using the scissor lift in combination with the sawhorses did the trick. Just like my cutting boards and other products, I raised the grain at 220 grit before the final sand. I was able to make some matching type backsplash with some of the leftover cutoffs. And let me know what you think about the backsplash. I'm a little bit torn on it. The owner loved it, so I can leave it at that. I did make some mistakes, some learning curve errors with the finish. Now I'm using a natural Danish oil style finish that I make, and I'm using a spar urethane instead of a standard type polyurethane. It has a UV inhibitor and is really good with water. I started on the bottom first, and I should have started on the top because the drip edge underneath on the finish side, on the top side, left some hard lines. So I did have to sand through the top because it didn't blend well. But overall, this finish is very user friendly. I really like the look of an oil like the tung oil or boiled linseed oil. This is a mixture of both of those, and it being thinned out with the urethane and doing multiple layers, the penetration that the oil gets and building a film finish, I feel like is a better finish than just spraying lacquer or a conversion varnish.
Watch the ceiling.
That is pretty awkward.
You flexing? Gonna flex a little bit. Ladies have to like this.
Yeah. You want me to lead?
Sure.
You're pretty tall right there.
Am I past?
You're through.
Turn on the shoulder.
Getting these countertops upstairs to a 450 square foot tiny apartment was a little bit hard. Luckily, I had my buddy Jake with me. He's a little bit younger. He works out, so I gave him the heavy end. I did have the sink at the shop and did a dry fit install. I used thread certs, stainless steel hardware, and stainless clips for the undermount portion of the sink.
Okay, I'm gonna sit it and then get on the other side. You good?
Yep.
When mounting the countertops, I oversized the holes in the cabinets, and I used spack screws with a stainless washer to allow for wood movement. A little bit of silicone and the backsplash was installed.
Drop in.
Who made these so heavy?
This thing here has been way harder than the countertops. I don't know if I'll ever get it done, but it's gonna be another YouTube video. So let's see the final shots of how these countertops turned out. I hope you guys liked it. Catch you on the next one.